The most important thing I learned from the 4 days is probably my leadership profile, because it helped me learn who I was, what traits I had, and what things I thought were important as a leader. And the two things I took away were, first of all, my vision. I know I have to have a strong vision for where I want to be, but more importantly, it has to be people-centered. And maybe I didn't realize that before, that anything I want to change, anything I want to improve at a school, it has to be focused around people, kids and staff. The second thing is I realized how important relationships are to me, and if I want to make change. If I want to affect the culture and the climate, I have to build relationships with people. Leading, in my mind, has to be part of my personality, and that's the only way I can affect what I want to. And the last thing I took away, especially from the speakers we had, that it takes time, it takes experience. I believe every speaker that came in here said they made mistakes, and I understand that. And I think what we have done in the last 4 days has been a good foundation. It's going to be a part of my toolkit, but I'm ready to get in there and have the experience and the practice, and that can lead me in a good way.
As I reflect on the Principal and Inspiring Leadership program that we went through, I've kind of typed out some notes as I felt like I could be more reflective when I was kind of by myself at home. So I'm going to kind of read from those notes. When I think of creating and implementing and monitoring leadership, my first thought is, what is my vision, or what do I feel is most important? I feel like in leadership, you need to connect with yourself and know who you are, know your passions, and know your beliefs. And without knowing yourself or being honest with what you truly believe, that will make it difficult to implement and monitor leadership in others. With this said, I think I've had time to reflect on what I feel is most important, and I think this is what is most difficult for me. I'm awfully easily influenced by new research and new ideas and new processes, and I would have to really figure out what my vision is and be able to look at those other arenas and be able to really see if that fits into what I believe would be my vision and mission. Once the vision is set, I think that the rest of it would come easier to me. I think I'm a good communicator, and I think I'm good at building a belief in other people. But I think more than encouraging and being a good communicator, being present is one thing that I've learned as well, and that you have to keep yourself present, and you have to be easily accessible for others to show that you really are truly in the leadership. Also, in reflecting on some of the things that we learned, one of the things that I thought was interesting was the 21 attributes of leadership. And as we had to categorize what we thought was most important, my top 5 did not meet the top 5 of the research. But I felt apparently that's what I feel is most important in being a leader. And the 5 that I chose were communication, culture, inspiring others, being visible, and having a clear focus and goal. So, in having that, I think your dispositions are really just being a good person, and being that someone wants to be like, and leading others the way you would want to lead. So with all of this, I think, do I think I'd be a good leader? I do think I would, and I think with the leadership profile, and again reflecting on what are my values and where I think I lie, I've definitely learned that there's things that I feel that I'm good at that I didn't realize before. But I also feel and have been able to reflect on what it is that I need to work on. And I think that's really probably what a true leader is somebody that knows that they're not perfect at everything, and knows that there are going to be things that they need to work on more than others. Thank you.
In creating and implementing leadership, I want to be in the trenches. I don't want to stand around and give orders. I don't want things to magically just happen. That's unrealistic. I want to be involved. I want those who are under me to be involved. I think that's the key to success for my vision. I want others to share their ideas and allow them to bring their suggestions to enhance the vision. This will not just be mine, but it will be shared by all stakeholders. Bringing success is needed. I want this to be a crock pot method, not microwave. It's not going to happen overnight. And just like we have spoken, things that need to be changed, most of the time can't be changed very quickly. Success change must come in small doses, and it's best if it is explained, not to just do it, because most of the time when we're just told to do it, we don't want to. We're very negative against that. I want to be able to enforce a change in you by giving you the opportunity to be involved in those changes. Also, I want to be able to check those regularly, because I think that you do need to have monitoring when you're making changes in an organization. But I also want to listen and be respectful to all options and all opinions that are given. The ways I want to build leadership capacity in others is, for me, difficult. I think in the school that I work in, we have a lot of what we would call born leaders. But I think as a born leader, sometimes we get pushed to the top, and there are some that don't have the opportunities to ever have that leadership opportunity. I think that we need to allow to be able to step back as leaders and let those who may not have the opportunity or may not know of their leadership qualities to be able to rise to the occasion and just see what their strengths or weaknesses are and where they can build on those. I find the key to building leadership in others is to invest time in them. I think that as a leader, if you have something that you have a strength in, that you need to share that. You don't need to hold that back. You need to be able to be willing to share that with others, so that enhances everything that you do, and that will definitely enhance the education and the role of the students.
As a participant in the Aspiring Principals program, my most valuable learning was that a successful leader must have a clear mission, vision, and purpose. Also, that leader must be able to effectively communicate that clear mission, vision, and purpose. In addition, I've also learned that being a successful leader means taking time out to notice the little things, just like in life. And maybe most importantly is the art of developing and fostering those positive relationships with staff and students. After taking part in this program, I realized more and more that I do possess a lot of the dispositions that we have talked about during our meetings. One way that I can lead differently in the future is I'm going to strive to be more clear and concise when I'm communicating with staff members and students. The area of leadership that I think that I've grown the most is speaking in front of my peers, and hopefully I can continue with that, because that's something I kind of struggle with. If there was one thing that I would like to spend a little bit more time on during this Aspiring Principals program, it would be maybe on the culture and the climate of a school, and possibly even shadowing a current principal for a day. And one component that I will be interested in further examining is my leadership profile. You know, what dispositions do I possess, and what dispositions can I continue to work on? Thank you.
The most important thing I learned from the Aspiring Principals program was the importance of having a written and clearly communicated vision, mission, and purpose. I think that my beliefs have always been there. I've always had at the forefront what it means to educate children in a safe environment and lead others to help to make that happen, but I've never actually written it down. And although I know it will change a lot, it's a little bit liberating to go ahead and actually put it into words and realize that it's the foundation for everything else. How will I lead differently after what I've learned in these sessions? I think now I can lead with a clearer understanding of all of the different leadership styles. I'm free to lead in a way that meets the needs of the situation that I'm in, and in a way that I feel comfortable with. I don't have to compare myself to anyone else that I have seen lead or anyone that has inspired me. I have to be my own type of leader, and just being aware of all the different styles that are possibilities. I can see attributes of each of those styles that are relevant and important, and things that I think I already possess. The one thing I would like to learn more about, if anything, is trying to actually put it into practice. I really like the scenarios that we were given, and we had to respond to those scenarios and how would we handle that situation as a principal. I think that that was really valuable, and I would like to be able to do more of those, because everyone says you can research it ad nauseum, and until you're actually in the situation and are presented with something like that, you never know how you're going to react and handle that. Lastly, I've been giving an awful lot of thought to the question, are people born leaders or is it something that is created? And I think that I've come to a conclusion that I'm happy with. I think that there are certain qualities that people are born with. When we look at the qualities of a leader, you have to have those things to be able to even be a candidate for leadership. But I also think that it is a process that has to be nurtured, that someone has to be willing to work at and to consciously walk through and reflect every so often to build those leadership abilities. And if you don't have the desire to do those things, you will never be an effective leader, even if you were born with that silver spoon and all those qualities.
All right, as a participant in the Aspiring Principals program, the most valuable thing that I've learned is to lead within and to build trust and relationships with your staff in order for them to buy into new changes and to be a successful change agent. I've also learned that I can still be a good mom and be a good leader at the same time. That was one of my biggest concerns, and through the conversations with Mr. Livingood and Mrs. Clay, I've learned that it's okay to put your family first, and that will help you to avoid drift and to be a successful leader. As far as what I will do different now in my current role, I think that I've learned a lot about culture and climate, and that I will try to be a more positive teacher and to guide my team when there are new changes, and to keep my climate and culture in mind, and to try to guide them and to stay positive as we implement new changes. I've also have a much better understanding of my leadership traits now that I've been through this cohort, and understand how I need to lead with my team and how to lead them and inspire them. Any growth that I've experienced is back to the culture and the climate and my leadership traits, and I know that in the next few years I would like to pursue some kind of career in leadership, and that I have a good understanding of what my leadership profile is and my different traits that I can bring to the table. That will be important when I'm interviewing or looking for which role I want to pursue. There's two things that I would recommend for the next cohort, and the first thing would be to spend more time on school budgeting and finances. I feel like that is my area of weakness, and that I would like to become more knowledgeable about how the school finances work and the role of the principal in developing the school budget. I would also like to do more case studies and more scenarios so that I can apply the knowledge that I have learned and be able to pull from other administrators and their previous experiences in how to handle difficult situations. And the one component that I want to know more about is the Steve Covey's work, and just how to lead from within and to build those 7 traits of an effective leader and an effective person.
The Aspiring Principal or Leadership Program has been beneficial because it has made me really look at the leader within myself and how I can become more of a leader. I don't have to be some cookie cutter type out of a book, and I feel like it's been really valuable to meet with other people in the district that are also interested in leadership as they continue their careers, but also hear from past administrators and how they deal with certain issues that are more current than when I took instructional leadership classes a few years ago. And I hope that through this that I'll be able to become a better leader in the classroom and as my career progresses.
Thinking about visionary leadership and thinking about creating, implementing, and monitoring, 3 things I have thought about are how to incorporate your dreams and your own passions within the excitement and the position of leading. Second thing was the authentic and anchored in who you are as a person and reflecting your own values within your own leadership and being who you are. And then also being open to that continuous evolution and reflecting where you are and also where you wish to go. So through that, I've thought about some things that I feel help to develop success and some points of whether in your family life, whether as a teacher or as a leader, some things I think we need to be open to is adjustability. How are you in adjusting and the willingness to adjust and doing things differently that help to define the outcomes and being open to those adjustments. And leaders don't just lead by telling people what they have to do. Instead, allowing the people to discover and adjust and instilling that desire to want to adjust. The second thing would be determination and accounting for your own effectiveness, determining what strategies work for you, and determining what measures to take to evaluate your processes, and that we allow sometimes those daily creeping negatives to enter, but instead of allowing them to defeat us, what kind of challenges can we overcome to instead turn those into strengths and success for our students, our family, and our communities. Also, accountability, being able to find those circumstances in education that push us to be the best that we can be, and not making those excuses, but then finding the value and sharing responsibilities and the limitations amongst us, and exploring the possibilities of wanting to improve and finding the key components that will help to make everyone successful. Perseverance would be another point of sticking with it and not giving up when things seem to not be going appropriately. It's having faith in ourselves and also faith in each other, to sticking with each other when those times are difficult, during times of change, and when you fail, and when you triumph, evolve together and strengthen the commitment to want to succeed and to continue to push through. And then finally, I believe the most important would be that trust component, in which having district leaders, the school board, the teachers, students, and the community help together build a certain level of trust and to come together to develop those visions and the goals that we feel are necessary to be successful as an entire group, and just to have the trust and the confidence in each other to deliver the results that are necessary to show that we are united in working to develop each other instead of the singular objective of one.
As I reflect back on these 4 days, I have a better sense of understanding with the relationship piece, wrapping into the mission and vision, and trying to get somebody, a staff, to buy into my mission and vision. The thing I understand probably the best from it is just the whole picture, and how being a principal is not just being a leader of a staff. It's maintenance and building, it's finance, it's custodians, it's public relations with parents and just the general public, as well as the political end of it as well. So those are some of the biggest things that I'm taking away. Another thing is my self-awareness, is knowing where I am individually with taking this next step and being prepared to move on to a principalship or an administration role.
At the beginning of this leadership program, I was wondering what it took to be a successful and transformational leader. I wasn't even sure if I had that capacity. I thought maybe you had to be born with it. But I appreciated all of the testimonies and the research and the practices and the theories that were presented to us, because I saw that if you were intentional about the practice and the passion and the relationships and the situational awareness, that you can be a successful and transformational leader if you believe that you can be and that others believe that you can be. I really appreciate all the support that this district, even just with this program, builds into their leaders. And I realized the other day I was watching Bug's Life with my niece, and one of the bugs asked to the other bug, "What is the number one rule of leadership?" And she starts to say, like, it's not her fault, and he goes, "It's everything is your fault. It's always your fault." And that's what I realized, that sometimes I screw up, and I have to learn to be quick to say, I didn't do this right, and make it right. And that's what I see our leaders doing well here. And then I also see when they do something right, they're humble about it, and they say, everybody else helped me do it. And that's what I want to do, because I just see how everybody collaborates together well. And I want to make sure that I can still tap into all the resources here, as far as especially the people, and just continue to learn all the wisdom from higher up and then the people around me, so that I can be a good leader. I think it takes a team and a village, and I want to continue to learn so that one day I really can be a successful and transformational leader.